Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jason and I am your watch guy today. Now, if you've watched the channel before, you probably know that I have a bit of a soft spot for Casio watches. I think they're really inexpensive and they do a lot for the price that they offer. I've loved Casio watches since I was really young, and it's one of the first watches that I was ever bought, so it has a really soft spot for me. Now, if you've watched the channel again, you may have also noticed that I have a bit of a habit of shopping on AliExpress for really cheap deals. You may have seen the Guanshin from a week or so ago, and before that you probably saw the Fengine watch, which went brilliantly. So today, those two parts of my personality have clashed to make this video for you guys. So I was looking through AliExpress, as I've spent a lot of my time doing recently, and I came across this listing. Now, looking at it, you'd be forgiven for thinking that that is a Casio W-218, but it's a homage to a Casio W-218. Homage being a very nice word to use here. So I saw this watch for £8.16, and after coupons it worked out as around £7.20. I thought I need to get one of these in and see how they compare to the real deal. Now, as you may remember, the Casio 218 is something that I referred to as the king of the Casios, or the new king of the Casios. Here's my 218 right here, and I still love this watch to this day. It's still my favourite Casio, hands down. Now, this watch was made by a brand called SKMEI. They make a lot of G-Shock homage type of watches, and they've been around for a little while. They've been reviewed quite a few times on YouTube also. So I got this one in. I got it in a little bit of a different colour just in case I actually liked it. And today I'm going to see how the homage stands up to the real deal, the king of the Casios. So let's get into this comparison, guys. So guys, here are our two watches. So this is the Casio W-218H, or as I like to call it, the king of the Casios. This is my favourite Casio to date, and to be honest, this video is a nice excuse for me to get it back out of the box and show you it again, because I don't think there's much better options for the £17 mark than this watch. And to the side of our Casio, we have the SKMEI 1496. This is their interpretation of the Casio, shall we say. I picked this up on AliExpress for around £7 something. I used a couple of coupons to get some money off it. It sits at £9.28 now, so it's still under the £10 mark. And after a couple of coupons, you could probably push it down a little bit. I've left a link for both of these watches in the description. They are both affiliate links, so if you could use them, it really does help the channel, and I'd be very appreciative of it. It doesn't cost you any extra. So let's get into the dimensions of these two watches. You'd think they'd be exactly the same, and in some ways they are, but the SKMEI does differ slightly. Now, they are both 42mm wide and 40.5mm in length. The SKMEI is slightly thicker than the Casio. It comes in at 11.8mm, whereas the Casio is a 10.8mm thick watch. Same water resistance, and they both utilise pretty much the same type of material from what I can feel anyway. And of course they both have 18mm lugs, pretty much the exact same bracelet on each of them. I'll go into the bracelet a little bit more later. So both have the same types of functions. Down in the corner here, they both have the mode buttons. So as you know, if you cycle through the Casio modes, you'll come to the alarm, stopwatch, time setting, and back to the time. Now, this Casio has a hour alarm as well as a settable alarm. It also has a light function. So on the SKMEI here, we also have the exact same button layout, the mode down here, slightly different noise to be fair. Alarm, stopwatch, and setting the time again. This also has the same functions in terms of calendar, alarm, and the chrono. It also has the two different types of alarms that you can set, and we have the light button up here. Now, it is a different type of light, and I'll get into that also in a second. Now, these both have different types of lights. As you'd expect from the Casio, it is the normal illuminator type of backlight which is actually really good, which Casio actually do really well on this model, and it is quite bright and legible in darker settings. Whereas the SKMEI has this EL light, which uses phosphor to work. If you wanted to look into that a little bit more, it must be a bit of a cheaper method for them. I'll get a shot of these two in the dark for you and insert it here. As you can see, the Casio, I think, is a lot more legible than the SKMEI, and I'm not too sold on that EL light, if I'm honest. Moving on to the display of these and the legibility in a lot of ways. If you turn the Casio to a angle like this, you can still read 1422, which says a lot for the display in this watch. It's very readable at difficult angles. Now if we look at the SKMEI and we turn this slightly, oh, it's disappeared. I think that's probably even a lesser angle than the Casio, but this defo loses out on legibility. At low angles, this isn't readable. So straight away you can see the difference in quality in the displays between this and the Casio. I don't know if I can catch this on the camera very well. The SKMEI has a really blue type of tint over its display, which I don't think I like. The one thing I noticed straight away unpackaging this SKMEI is that it has an extra button to the Casio. Now I think that's because they've separated the light and reset button. So I'll show you the stopwatch on the Casio. So it's start at the top here, stop, and the light button functions as a reset button. So I'll show you again, start, stop, reset. Now if we do the same on this SKMEI, so we go to start, which is on the opposite side on this one, stop, light button doesn't do anything, reset. So they've added an extra function button, which I think makes it a bit more complicated. I quite like the simple layout of the Casio. I don't think it needs that extra button. Some people might like it. Some people might want to read their stopwatch time in the dark, so I get that that could be a bonus for the SKMEI. For me, it's not. For me, it's a bonus for the Casio. So moving on to the bracelets. Now the obvious difference is the colour, so I won't go into that. They are both resin, right? And the Casio's, while it's flexible, doesn't feel as supple as the SKMEI bracelet. Now I thought that would be a win for the SKMEI, but unfortunately after trying the SKMEI on, it isn't as comfortable as the Casio. I mean, they're very close, very similar straps, but I do prefer the Casio on wrist. And due to that angle that I mentioned before, it does become quite hard to read whilst on wrist if you haven't got it at the right angle. So that again is a shortfall for the SKMEI. Now the biggest issue that I have with the bracelet is this buckle. It's a really cheap stainless steel feeling buckle, and it is quite rattly. It's not well fitted, and it feels really cheap, which it is. Moving to the Casio, we have this plastic buckle, but this does blend in with the watch. It suits the watch very well. Unfortunately, this isn't one of Casio's signed buckles, but does suit the watch, I believe, better than this stainless steel looking one. It continues the stealth type of look. I understand this isn't a black bracelet, but I do believe this is a better option. Now the main thing I don't like about this SKMEI is that blue type of lining around the edge of the display. I think it makes it feel really cheap, whereas the Casio's white and black lining makes it feel nice, crisp, and a simple yet effective design. Another thing is the printing on each of these watches. You can see instantly that the Casio is a much more premium print. You can see the illuminator at the top, the water 50 meter resist at the bottom. You can't see that on this, and obviously they've used a different colour, but even though they've used that different colour, you still need to be able to read it. There's no point putting it on there. I can't see that. As well as that, the logo at the top makes it feel like a bit of a kid's watch. You know, really cheap type of, just came out of those 20p machine type of looks. That's the biggest shortfall for me, because it looks really crappy on wrist. It's not something I'd like to be seen wearing. Whereas the Casio, I quite happily wear on a regular basis, and it's something that I love to put on when I go for a jog. It's one of my motivations for going for a jog, so I can wear this watch. So conclusion for me, this is still the king of the Casios, and it outplays the SKMEI in many different aspects. I'd 100% just spend the extra £7 or £8 and get the Casio. You'll be much happier with it. So guys, while this is a very fun and affordable watch at the price that it's at, I think it doesn't really offer enough to be a competitive alternative to the Casio W-218. Now obviously, if you're not bothered about the things that I mentioned, if you just want to use the SKMEI for a sports watch or something that you use in work and you want something really cheap and disposable, then fine. The affiliate link is in the description. Please use that. That really does help the channel. In the same breath, if you want the Casio that little bit more quality and probably will last you a little bit longer, that is again in the description. Again, that helps the channel loads. It's still my 100% favorite Casio that I own, and I would advise anyone to go out and buy one. It's something that everyone needs in their collection. If you've watched to this point, guys, please do subscribe. I'm nearly 100 subscribers, which isn't a big deal for most people, but to me that's amazing. I only set this channel up as something for me to do whilst the lockdown was on, and it's become my favorite hobby. I absolutely love to chat with you guys once I post a video, and you've really helped me through this lockdown. So please do subscribe, get me to that 100, and we can see where we can go from there. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.